just going to make sure that we're coming up live here. I don't see it quite yet. It looks like we're good. Welcome to Allegedly with Ashli Ford. I'm a podcaster, but that's fairly new. Most people who've known me over the last 20 years have known me as an advocate for children. I'm doing this as a Facebook Live because anytime I have information that pertains to public safety or concern, I like to do them for free. However, I do have a Patreon where I charge for investigations that I do for cold cases. A couple of weeks ago, there was some information sent to me with a section marked on it. It looked to be information that was old. It appears to be from 2003. It is, from what I can tell, New London School Board meeting notes. I started checking some of the minutes against like some events and articles and records to see if they were, at least they have access to like private meetings where they're like executive meetings where information like this would be held. I think that someone perhaps passed this information to me because it needed a new home, and I don't really know why, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. The marked section appears to name a teacher who is no longer at the school. I'm going to withhold his name because if it is that important to you to know his name after knowing this information, I want you to demand it from the proper people, which is the school board. It appears from these notes that I've been provided here that this teacher was in a rather severe accident just prior to leaving location. Were found in his car, allegedly. This is definitely a story from 20 years ago based on this information because porn, especially that type of publication, doesn't come in paper copies anymore, at least not that I'm aware of. Those publications, according to this notebook, were then, we're going to check really quickly because I'm getting complaints that this is cutting out and I don't want that to happen. That's why I don't do it on Facebook anymore. It's very likely because there are a lot of people on this feed and on playback, it'll play back fine. If it does not, for some reason, I will absolutely redo this entire thing on Patreon, make it free, and then publish it on Facebook so that it's viewable. It did do this a lot when I did Facebook Lives because I have a mass viewership, and anytime anybody logs onto one podcast like this, it tends to cause an overload. It should play back just fine. So I'm concerned because if these publications were in fact under this teacher's seat in his car, which is where they were alleged to have been found, a police officer reasonably knew about it, or a first responder, and it was turned over to the school board. Now, 20 plus years ago, schools and, computers and laptops, these notes that the information was in plenty and readily available on this computer and not hidden. So naturally, I set aside that information and I start looking up this man's name. Nothing pops. Odd. It was a long time ago, but last year I solved a case from 2001. So not impossible. I pulled a board meeting, struck a deal with this teacher to allow him to resign and to continue teaching somewhere else so as not to bring liability and shame to their school. I looked the guy up because this has got a lot, these notes that I had a lot of information about this man, very, very detailed information. So I want to see if this person has good information. I get to looking. And all of the information that is provided in that could be reasonably verified. The teacher had been there since I was a baby, since I was one. I was born in 1985. He was allowed to resign. He does appear to have moved to another district. He did appear to keep teaching. The notes here indicate, that perhaps there was an issue here because of the publications that were alleged to be found, that he had some type of relationship, negative relationship with this sexuality in young boys. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. This man was also said to be prolific in a very specific Catholic church. He was said to have wanted to be clergy for a long time. I looked up all of that information. It does appear to be true. After leaving New London, he was on the board of directors for Ohio Education Association for 4 years. He taught in another district for almost a decade. He was a university student teacher supervisor for 5 more years. More concerning, based on the material allegedly found in his car and computer, very well connected with the Boy Scouts of America. See my issue? I don't understand why someone would go to these lengths only to tell a lie about somebody that isn't even in the school anymore. No, why they sent it to me is because we have a very serious problem with New London School Board. Maybe not necessarily the current ones, but the culture that is surrounding them. We have a very serious problem there. If this first information is true, and I have absolutely no reason to believe it is not true, the entire board should have been arrested for this. For starters, they viewed and possessed child porn. It is a crime in every state in this country. They prevented justice. They protected what appears to be a child sex offender to save their own asses. So I get this information and I get thousands of messages on a regular basis. I am not joking. That's why my voice is like it is. I talked to a lot of people in the last 24 hours. And I type in New London in my Facebook messages just to see what pops up. Bam, lots of them, right? All kinds of them. Most of the initial ones were about bullying, something that is not necessarily in my wheelhouse. But here's what else came up in these messages. And these are only the events that came up repeatedly. Showed a group of kids a nude photo of herself while she was showing them her vacation photos. Now, a teacher's assistant doesn't have really any business showing her vacation photos to children in a school. It's weird and it's unprofessional in a classroom, especially one that wasn't even hers. Second, it is alleged that she lied about it and it caused some type of parental uproar, because I can confirm it with more than 3 people, and was addressed at a board meeting where she was let go or resigned. Okay. The next, equally concerning, a Ms. Carborn, a band director, this again came from multiple sources, is said to belittle her students. More concerning, it is alleged that she recently pierced the ears of a middle school color guard student so that she could match the rest of the students. Ma'am, if that's true, you're a psychopath. She did not have parental permission, and it is alleged that this child's ears became severely infected, and despite being made aware, the school appears to be ghosting this family and not addressing this entire event. New London, I'm disappointed in you. I'm really disappointed in you. You're one of the few cities in this county where I'm fuck around and find out in New London. I'm very disappointed in you. Because if any of you knew all of this stuff and nothing has been done, I mean, come on, that is way, way outside of what is normally expected. It has been alleged that a longtime teacher's aide at New London schools has suddenly resigned over a rather recent event. I got 2 stories on this, 2 very consistent stories, but it's essentially the same event. A teacher made a kid eat from the trash, something that does not appear to be true. B, and this one is more reasonable and definitely had a lot more really credible sources on this one, that she dropped the lunch tray of a special needs child onto the floor. And instead of getting the child a new tray, she opted to scoop the food from the floor and give it to the child to eat. Now, this is allegedly, but like I said, it does not appear that this teacher's aide works for this school anymore. I've checked, and I have some solid, credible sources that are alleging this information. It gives me reason to believe it is true. This appears to be 2 versions of the same event. At least I hope there's only one. This isn't something we should be guessing about, though. If this in fact happened, or this woman did in fact resign or was terminated, there should have been an investigation and parents should have been made aware. It's that simple. Right now, this is what I posted about yesterday, okay? I posted about this yesterday. I knew it was going to open Pandora's box. I just didn't care. There is an investigation into the school resource officer, Mr. Smith, who I have been told as of today, per Chief Hicks, has been reassigned to road patrol. When I asked if he had been placed on leave or pending investigation, Mr. Hicks responded no. When I asked why he had changed positions, no answer was given. Now listen, this man didn't just suddenly stop working at a job he loved to go back to ain't shit ass road patrol. Okay. Nobody did that. School resource job is smooth sailing. All right. Everybody loves that job. It's usually older people who have retired from another police department who come and work in this one because it's such a sweet gig. So nobody's leaving that. I don't buy that. The main concern here is, for me at least, that in these messages that I'm getting, the chief of police and multiple other officers have been seen at the school multiple times in the last 2 weeks interviewing kids. I am told these children have then been told not to discuss it with anyone. Before we talk about this event and what this SRO officer has been alleged, I need you to understand that it is legal for police and school to investigate and speak to your children. That's perfectly legal. I just don't like it. I think it's a gross overstep. I think it's wholly unnecessary. Similar to how I believe that if you're going to drug test a child and they want to call their parents, that they should be allowed. That leads me to my next point. This school has a rule of no phones. Part of my post yesterday was to see how this works. How hard was it for you to communicate with your child yesterday after my post? It very likely made you feel helpless because I don't believe the school was responding to you. And you couldn't access your kid through the cell phone that you pay for because they're not allowed to have it. I want you to imagine how your child feels in that school when something terrible happens. Now, you could have left your home and gone up to the school, and you should have, but they can't. They can't do anything. They're under the authority of that school. I'm sorry, but given this school's alleged history of keeping parents in the dark, this policy is protecting the school more than it benefits the children. Phones are a problem in every school in the country. They absolutely interfere with learning for some students. However, that rule also means that your student will have no proof. They will be in total isolation under control of this school. They cannot call for help. They can't take pictures of things that happen. They can't record events that happen. Nothing. Back to the school resource officer, who was also the wrestling coach and is now a road patrol officer. He is employed through New London Local Schools. It's alleged that recently he transported in his personal car female mat maids to an out-of-town meet, and someone got mad about it. Now, I had some nice teachers and nice coaches when I was a kid, some nice male ones. While I believe the actions to be inappropriate and definitely suspect, I'm going to need further details to form an opinion specifically on his actions there. Where I'm concerned is that by last night, most people had asked their kids about what was going on at the school because of my post. Something that you should be doing every day, talking to your kids. And they were reasonably, based on my messages, able to isolate the three main events being a problem here. Your children were. Many of you noted that, this has been an issue for a long time, that there's no communication in these schools. And I tend to, based on this information available to me, to agree. Many of you noted that there was a similar issue to what's going on with this SRO with, I believe, a choir teacher a couple of years ago. Everyone who reached out to me about this event with this SRO, just based on the information that I've given you here today, they don't like it. And the reason why they don't like it is because it's inappropriate. Even if absolutely nothing nefarious happened while he was transporting these children or while they were in this adjoining hotel room, it is wholly inappropriate for him to do that. It is inappropriate for a man to put themselves in a position like that to where these allegations could even be made. And it was unnecessary. I think that based on some of the other messages that speak about Snapchats and social medias and how this man interacted with some of your children and how there is absolutely, let me just stop right here. There is absolutely zero reason for any adult in authority over a child who is not related to that child to have a Snapchat conversation with that child. Snapchat is designed for the purposes of disappearing messages, okay? There is no reason why an adult at a school needs to be Snapchatting with a student. If it is on the up and up and you have done nothing wrong, send it in a fucking text message. Okay, so we can verify it, look at it, and everybody can say, hey, you didn't do anything wrong. We can't do that here. Mostly because it does not appear that the police, when this was made known to them, pulled his phone or a warrant for it. Not sure why. Frankly, all of that information is something that a police investigation would find. Oddly, I want you to notice that one call yesterday that went out, it said that no school official was holding an investigation. They were pretty slick with that wording there. No school official is holding the investigation. It appears the police were. This allegation being made about this school resource officer who this chief employs should have been done by Huron County Sheriff's Department to avoid any type of conflict or impropriety, something that seems to be a problem here. There are additionally reports made about another female teacher who in the last couple of years was alleged to perhaps been the teachers union president. She allegedly was caught sexting and having sex with a 16-year-old male student in a situation that sounds freaking eerily similar to Holly Bauer in Monroeville, also including Snapchat there, okay? I am told she later went on to work with disabled kids in a group home, something that terrifies me. Guys, there's no damn way that all of these people that reached out to me should have this information and nothing be done about it. I know how to sniff out a rumor from something that very likely happened. This is a problem in this school. There's very clearly a problem. I think we can all agree about that. Here is my issue. If the board in 2003 was willing to cover their own ass at the expense of every child after that, and the culture of this school appears to have only become worse, do we really expect them to suddenly start protecting your kids now? I don't. I'm getting reports of sexual assaults amongst students that are not being reported to parents. Allegedly, a school nurse recently dealt with one, reported it to police, but failed to notify parents. This school appears to have a long-standing, very serious problem with accountability and informing parents, and I'm really shocked by that because like I said, New London. Interesting. We currently have, from what I understand, a sexual assault allegation going from against one child and multiple children. There appears to be no investigation that I can find. I think there's some mental health issues that need to be addressed here. There's definitely something amiss based on where this child spends their time. I'm concerned. I see red flags of abuse all over here, guys. I see it all over. And there's no way that it's every cycle of kids are continuing this abuse. This is something that is coming from the top and trickling down. While we're on that topic, bullying is an issue in your school, for sure, definitely an issue. I'm certain, absolutely certain, that is due to the school covering things up. But I need you to know, from mom to mom, bullies are billed at home. They're not billed in school. The school does not teach your child to be physically reactive. You do. They did not teach your child to be hateful. That happened before they got there. I want you to, as a social experiment, take a look at the comments from my first post yesterday. Some of your kids are bullies because some of you are bullies. You were bullying the wrong person. You all popped off on my post instead of storming the damn school and the police station like you should have and demanding answers. I was called a liar, a bitch. I was repeatedly threatened. I was discredited. You all bullied the shit out of me simply because you didn't get your way. That's why your kids are bullies. You're going to absolutely get nowhere bullying me, okay? Because, baby, I ain't the one. I do not bend to the will of anyone. Google me. I did that post that way for a reason. Anybody who follows me knows that. One, I knew where my information came from, and I knew it definitely wasn't from parents. In fact, I couldn't find any parents who knew about it. If I am about to make this claim that this school is keeping parents in the dark, I'm going to need to be able to prove that. My post yesterday was, all the proof I need. You guys don't know diddly squat about what's happening in your school. It proved that you already know that the school's going to lie to you, though, because otherwise you would not be taking the word of some random lady on Facebook. You trusted me because you trust my information. You don't trust that school. That's a problem, and it's not mine. While we're on the topic of, notifications, I think that you all should have been notified that the SRO was put on leave. That happens. That's standard in every other school. I believe, based on the information I have, that they fear more evidence being brought forward. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and from what I'm told, he may even be good looking. I'm sure people like him. They certainly seem to. However, what you're never going to do is tell me never could he ever, okay? Because as a friend pointed out today, Bill Cosby was an icon, but he was also a monster. I know this when I see it, and there are red flags all over this one, okay? Being public about it would mean that they couldn't bury it like they did in 2003 and very likely would be sued. This school's going to get sued, for sure. It also means that parents might start asking questions. When one of those letters goes out that says, hey, there's a problem with this and we're investigating, can't give you any details though, you guys go straight to your kids. What the hell's going on? Like you did yesterday. That could mean big problems for the school like it does today. Now, I want you to put whatever weight you deem appropriate in this information that I've provided here today. I suspect that this information is going to continue to open Pandora's box. The only reason I can do what I do here is because I have essentially unlimited access to information. I know that post was vague. I did it on purpose. I knew it would draw out new information and I needed it. You guys didn't disappoint though, for real. You came with the goods. I know everybody's business in New London now. The reason nobody has a clear picture of what's going on here is because you lack the information. The school's not telling you it. They're keeping the parents in the dark. I bet after this little experiment that I've done here with these two posts and this podcast, that you're going to start piecing this mess together really fast now, because now all of you have come together on one platform. You're all telling your stories. Everybody's getting upset. And now we know something really needs to be done. Okay. And like I said, don't disappoint me, New London. I know you're up to the task. I want you to do to me, like to them, what you did to me yesterday. Okay. You bullied the crap out of me yesterday while I was trying to gather information. So I know you have it in you. I need you to get up and be a bully. Demand information. Demand an outside investigation. Demand a safe place for your kids. Show up to the board meeting Monday. I think I might be there. This toxic, sexually charged, violent environment is conducive to secrecy because the school appears to want it that way. But it's going to shape your children. It is my firm belief that New London Local Schools is lying to parents. I believe they lied to you in that one call. It is my firm belief that they are endangering and contributing to the abuse of the children in their care. I believe that they will do any and everything to cover for it, including lie to your ears in a one call to the school. Understand that your call essentially claimed that I was a liar. We will be addressing that soon because you don't know me, but I'm the screenshot queen. I can back up everything I said. Have the day you deserve.